What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Stand Tall. It's August 24th, and we are going to go through a couple of different strategies here, verses 11 through 14 on the 9 situations, which is chapter 11 in the Art of War. So, verse 11. On dispersive ground, therefore, fight not. On facile ground, halt not. On contentious ground, attack not. 12. On open ground, do not try to block the enemy's way. On the ground of intersecting highways, join hands with your allies. 13. On serious ground, gather and plunder. In difficult ground, keep steadily on the march. 14. On hemmed in ground, resort to stratagem. On desperate ground, fight. Let's jump over to the alternate translation and see what they have. Talked about bad ground, dying ground. Okay. Master Sun said, so let there be no battle on a ground of dissolution. Let there be no stomping on light ground. Let there be no attack on a ground of contention. Let there be no cutting off of attack ground. Let there be no cutting off of trafficked ground. On intersecting ground, form communications. On heavy ground, plunder. On bad ground, keep going. On surrounded ground, make plans. On dying ground, fight. Li Kuan says, on a ground of dissolution, the soldiers might run away. Mei Yaoqin says, light ground is where soldiers have first entered enemy territory and do not yet have their backs to the wall. Hence, the minds of the soldiers are not really concentrated, and they are not ready for battle. At this point, it is imperative to avoid important cities and highways, and it is advantageous to move quickly onward. Now, Cao says, it is not advantageous to attack an enemy on a ground of contention. What is advantageous is to get there first. Wang Qi says, traffic ground should not be cut off, so that the roads may be used advantageously as supply routes. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Ming Shi says, on intersecting ground, if you establish alliances, you are safe. If you lose alliances, you are in peril. They have Li Cao says, on heavy ground, plundering means building up supplies. Li Kuan added, when you enter deeply into enemy territory, you should not antagonize people by acting unjustly. When the founder of the great Han dynasty entered the homeland of the supplanted Qing dynasty, there was no rapine or pillage, and this is how he won the people's hearts. Li Kuan says, on bad ground, since you cannot entrench, you should make haste to leave there. Cao says, on surrounded ground, bring surprise tactics into play. Jin Hao says, if they fall into dying ground, then everyone in the army will spontaneously fight. This is why it is said, put them on dying ground, and then they will live. A savage for a ruler, but sometimes you kind of see that. I mean, even with like Ted Lasso, put them in dying ground and they will fight. Put them in a position where they have no other choice. And sometimes you do that to yourself. I recently did something like that to myself, and um, the contract might make it a little hard to get out of, but whatever happens, happens. But just always kind of, make sure to get the lay of the land first. And I made a couple of strategic mistakes recently with leads and things like that. So, I don't know if there's too much, on open ground, like that, too much that we can go back and really dig into. I think the main theme is that, be aware of these different grounds, be aware of what they mean, and then be aware of what tactics to employ when these grounds come into play. And these 9 situations, I guess, and just kind of everything in throughout life. What if we tried to view the setting of situations as a different form of ground, and we we gave the strategy around the conversation of the situation that we're in as far as that's concerned, and gave it more of a spin or a lens to view that through. Would it then help us as we are in these conversations and situations to realize maybe we're on, maybe we're not on dying ground, but maybe we're on contentious ground, or maybe we're on serious ground, or we're in intersecting highways where other people are, you know what I mean, or we're hemmed in. Um, and then, try to make sure that we don't, and just being aware, say, of like the desperate ground, the dying ground, let's purposefully not go there. Let's not take the conversation there. And then, as a Stoic, it's your duty, right? It's your pragmatism to not go to dying ground if it's not advantageous, and then, but the opposite is true too. If that dying ground is somehow going to be advantageous for the morale of your enemies, which is going to be the death knell in your opponent, so there's always different outcomes for different situations. All right. The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman, August 24th, is entitled Pillage from All Sources. We did see some pillaging references today in The Art of War, so let's see what happens. But pick up a copy of this, and The Daily Dad is a good one. I have a copy upstairs. So that's a Barnes & Noble exclusive, I believe. Maybe not. But check that out as well. All right. August 24th, Pillage from All Sources. I'll never be ashamed to quote a bad writer with a good saying. Seneca, on Tranquility of Mind 11.8. One of the striking things about Seneca's letters and essays is how often he quotes the philosopher Epicurus. Why is that strange? Because Stoicism and Epicureanism are supposed to be diametrically opposed philosophies. Ha, got us. In reality, the differences, while significant, tend to be overblown. But this is true to form for Seneca. He was looking for wisdom, period. It didn't matter where it came from. This is something that a lot of fundamentalists in religion, philosophy, anything seem to miss. Who cares whether some bit of wisdom is from a Stoic? Who cares whether it perfectly jives with Stoicism? What matters is whether it makes your life better, whether it makes you better. What wisdom or help would you be able to find today if you stopped caring about affiliations and reputations? How much more could you see if you just focused on merit? I like the wisdom part. What wisdom or help would you be able to find if you were able to stop caring about affiliations and reputations? So the reputation part hits me because think about all of this Black Mirror social credit thing that is happening in China. People care more about reputations. Well, why is that advantageous to a government agency that, like he says, when the leader shouldn't be trusted? Why would that be advantageous for the people who are in control? Well, because apparently it takes away wisdom when you care about things like that. When you care about celebrities and stupid people that are famous, and um, the affiliation, right? Left or right, blue or red, blood or crip. See where I'm going with this? Because there is no wisdom there. And I think that this hits deep. Be aware of the 9 situations, the 9 different grounds. Life is much more complex than just this side or that side. And who cares whether it perfectly jives with Stoicism, right? Who cares where it came from? Seneca, right? True to form, he was looking for wisdom. He was looking for wisdom, period. What matters is whether it makes your life better, whether it makes you better. So, I'll never be ashamed to quote a bad writer with a good saying, because that's all that matters, is focusing and doing what makes you better day in and day out. Keep standing tall. See you on the next one.